Welcome to AFP DC's National Philanthropy Day digital event. From the pandemic, uncertainty in the economy, overdue calls for social justice, and a contentious election looming ahead, 2020 has taken a toll on each of us. But I know that philanthropy is a powerful muscle. Each day, fundraisers and nonprofit leaders work to connect donors with solutions, to raise funds for remedies that will carry our communities forward. It's a driving force for change. While we can't gather in person to celebrate the nonprofit and philanthropic community in the greater Washington, D.C. area this year, we felt strongly that we wanted to still celebrate the incredible work being done, often under the radar. In these unprecedented times, when we are unable to meet in person, it is more important than ever to recognize outstanding contributions in our industry. First and foremost, I would like to thank our valued sponsors. Campbell & Company for their sponsorship of our Philanthropist of the Year Award. Certified Fundraising Executive, CFRE International, for their sponsorship of the Rising Star Fundraiser of the Year Award. And America's Promise Alliance for their sponsorship of the Fundraiser of the Year Award. And now, the moment that you've been waiting for. It is my pleasure to announce that Tonya Wellens is our chapter's Philanthropist of the Year. Tonya's leadership in launching GWCF's COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund exemplified how to address an unexpected situation with verve, smarts, and a deep commitment to equity and justice, moving quickly to make a tangible impact on our region. Since launching the fund, GWCF has raised over $8 million from more than 700 corporate partners, foundations, and individual donors. Under her leadership, GWCF has embraced a strategic blend of leveraging philanthropy to meet immediate needs while also addressing underlying systemic issues and centering the experiences, voices, and leadership of those most directly impacted while working collaboratively across sectors without getting bogged down in unnecessarily complicated processes. During this period of reckoning due to the health pandemic, economic crisis, and racial injustice, Tonya has also inspired and motivated other individual corporate and government entities to take on leading philanthropic roles, including establishing over $1 million worth of other funds at GWCF to tackle specific needs and help underserved populations, such as undocumented immigrants, in response to COVID-19.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christina Yoon from Campbell & Company, and I'm so pleased to represent our team today as we honor Tonya Wellens. I want to start by thanking all of you for everything you do as fundraisers and leaders in our community. It's not easy work even on the best of days, but it is so meaningful, and it has never been more important than in this moment. At Campbell & Company, our mission is to partner with people who change lives through philanthropic vision and action. One of the most effective ways we've acted on our mission is by partnering with AFP chapters in communities in which we live and work, especially here in DC. We are so proud to be longtime supporters of AFP DC, not only through our financial support, but through our personal commitment of our people, who have served as board members, committee members, presenters, and more. In this moment, it feels especially important to consider the question, why AFP? The answer is really quite simple. AFP is ethics. It sets and upholds the standards of practice for our profession. AFP is continuous learning. It challenges each of us to be and do our best to stay relevant in a constantly changing world. Finally, AFP is community. It welcomes and supports all people who are called to the fundraising profession. Today, as we confront centuries of systemic racism and the inequities that pervade the nonprofit and philanthropic sectors, we need AFP DC more than ever. Campbell & Company is honored to stand with all of you as we envision and create our future together. Thank you.
Tonya Wellens and the GWCF are an example of the most effective and powerful justice-centered philanthropic leadership that our region has to offer. And I ask that you join me in congratulating this year's Philanthropist of the Year Award recipient, Tonya Wellens.
The Greater Washington Community Foundation has a vision for a just and equitable Greater Washington region. We raise philanthropic capital and invest it locally toward these aims. We have been incredibly busy working with a broad range of local funders and partners, with nonprofit organizations and with individual funders to respond to the global pandemic. In order to keep people interested in our work, we have to tell the story of those with lived experiences in a way that really demonstrates that their needs are no different from our own. Everyone deserves access to a good quality education, to stable housing, to good jobs, without barriers. It really is about humanizing the story of people and our shared humanity. The pandemic has exacerbated so many of the challenges that many low-wage workers and gig economy workers, hospitality workers in our region were already experiencing. Our hope is that our broader community will take a number of lessons away from the COVID-19 experience. One, that we have an ability to rally as a community and to respond to needs ongoing with urgency, with philanthropic capital, and with the desire to really move people out of harm and out of challenging situations. I'd like to offer my sincere gratitude to Campbell and Company for sponsoring this award. I am incredibly honored to have been selected for this recognition.
Once again, congratulations, Tonya, on a very well-deserved acknowledgement. So our next award recipient needs no introduction, but I am very proud to give him one anyway. Tommy Wren is this year's Rising Star Fundraiser of the Year. Tommy started his fundraising career in 2016 at Public Justice as a development assistant and was quickly promoted to individual giving manager and then subsequently to deputy director of development. While at Public Justice, he was an integral part of the development team's 35th anniversary campaign, raising over $3.5 million, surpassing the campaign goal of $2 million. In early 2020, Tommy joined Resources for the Future as Associate Director of Individual Giving. Tommy has been a member of AFP since the beginning of his young fundraising career and earned his CFRE accreditation in 2019. Earlier this year, AFP Global recognized Tommy as one of 4 outstanding young professionals. He was also the recipient of an LGBTQ Diversity Scholarship in 2017, and that same year, Tommy co-founded our chapter's first LGBTQ+ affinity group and continues to serve as its co-chair. Earlier this year, Tommy joined the AFP DC Board of Directors and currently serves as our chapter's Vice Chair of Resource Development and a member of our chapter's Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility Committee. Early on, Tommy understood that networking was an important part of the association experience. He is engaged across the nonprofit sector, constantly advocating for professional fundraisers to consider membership with AFP DC.
Hello, I'm Eva Aldridge, President and CEO of CFRE International. CFRE International is proud to partner with AFP Washington, D.C. to recognize outstanding fundraising professionals. And we're particularly excited to sponsor the 2020 Rising Star Fundraiser of the Year Award. We're delighted the award goes to Tommy Wren, who has been a CFRE since 2019. The nonprofit sector depends on trust, and the future strength of the nonprofit sector relies on today's fundraisers building that trust by holding themselves to the highest standards and inspiring others around them to do the same. We wish Tommy Wren and all the members of the AFP Washington, D.C. chapter continued success in their fundraising careers.
We are grateful to Tommy for all that he has given to our chapter, and we are honored to recognize him as this year's Rising Star Fundraiser of the Year.
At Resources for the Future, over the past year, we've really been able to maintain. We've been able to keep engaging our donors, find new ways of meeting them where they're at, literally at home, and to make them see that their support is making a difference. And I think that's been one of the things I'm proudest of in the last year. One of the ways that we are engaging our donors at Resources for the Future is in providing, unique event opportunities for them. I know that there is a lot of Zoom fatigue these days, but we're trying to make, unique experiences where donors can feel connected. In normal times, we'd have folks coming to the office, coming to our in-person events, and so we're trying to, find new ways to invite them in and understand the research that is being produced at Resources for the Future. Fundraising overall, I think, is really a team sport. And I think that the success that you see is never related to one person. It's really related to everything going smoothly across the board. So in past fundraising successes that I've had, I really find that the times when we're really connected across the team, whether that's the prospect research or the communications that we're drafting, whether it's making sure that our frontline fundraisers are best informed and ready to go out and do their job, all of those really work together. I think especially one of the big pieces there is that the leadership of the organization is really your number one champion and is really helping you get those fundraising goals met. And so that's where I think I found the most success in different fundraising efforts. So about 3 years ago, we started the AFP DC LGBTQ affinity group. I know that's a lot of letters, but it was a really good opportunity. AFP DC is really lucky to be the largest chapter of AFP in the country. And sometimes, though, that makes it hard to connect with people and get to know people when you're just joining the organization, especially folks that are within your own community. And so forming the LGBTQ affinity group was just a really good way of networking. I say often that it's a pretty informal group, but it's definitely a group where we're really excited to see each other, to share what's going on with our work, our personal lives, but also just learning more, learning best practices, and just finding that networking that's so helpful, I think, as a fundraiser. I think AFP DC is doing a great job of thinking about diversity and inclusion issues overall. The LGBTQ affinity group has been supported from day one by the larger chapter, and I think that that's a testament to AFPD's commitment to diversity and inclusion. I think that we are learning more and more every year, every month, every day about how we need to do more across the board. And so I'm really grateful, for the LGBTQ community support within the chapter. But I think that we're looking at larger issues of diversity and inclusion across the chapter, and I think we're in the right headspace as a chapter to address these issues and to be committed to moving forward. I want to thank CFRE for sponsoring the Rising Star Fundraiser Award this year. I got my CFRE a year ago, and I know just in that time it's made a huge difference for me, both in just personally recognizing the investment and time I've put into becoming a fundraiser, but also really setting me up to continue to learn and grow in the years ahead. So just really a team effort across the board, so it feels a bit strange to get it as an individual. I have everything to thank my past teams that I've worked with, both in my organizations, but also within AFP, for just helping me along the way, to helping me see that a career in fundraising was possible, that I can keep growing and learning every day in what I'm doing. And I think that AFPDC, I'm really grateful for this award, but also it's possible because of them and everything that they've provided.
Thank you, Tommy, and congratulations once again on your well-deserved award. We conclude our awardee recognition with our final award, Fundraiser of the Year. This year's recipient is a consummate professional, contributing her skills and expertise to local, regional, and national nonprofit organizations for more than 2 decades. She has inspired myriad individuals and institutions to invest in organizations for which she has worked, raising over $100 million throughout her career, including at organizations like the YWCA, the American Red Cross National Capital Region, the YMCA of Metropolitan Washington, D.C. We are honored to present this year's Fundraiser of the Year Award to Tysa Lee Williams.
America's Promise Alliance was founded in 1997 to continue the work of the President's Summit for America's Future, which brought together people and organizations from across the country to improve the lives of young people. Our name, America's Promise, comes from Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, where he compared the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution to a promissory note. The note, Dr. King said, was a promise that all men would be guaranteed the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That promise to a nation, yet unfulfilled, is what drives the work of America's Promise. and what Tysa Lee Williams, our Chief Development Officer, works every day to fulfill. Through a successful career as a fundraiser, Tysa Lee has inspired individuals and institutions to donate over $92 million to charitable causes. Working with organizations like the YWCA, the American Red Cross, the YMCA, and many others, Tysa Lee has advanced philanthropy with integrity, honesty, and a passion for helping others that is unparalleled. As an alliance of over 450 national youth supporting organizations, we know that you can't do this alone. And what we know as a core of our work is that every young person deserves to succeed, and every adult has a responsibility to make that happen. Tysa Lee embodies that collaboration and takes the responsibility to be a caring adult seriously every day. I'm so honored to represent America's Promise in sponsoring the Fundraiser of the Year Award and congratulate Tysa Lee on this prestigious honor.
Tysa Lee is a dynamic force and trailblazing fundraiser and volunteer. First, there are her professional accomplishments as a fundraiser. She currently serves as Chief Development Officer with America's Promise Alliance, an organization founded by former Secretary of State and retired General Colin Powell. But throughout her career, she's raised more than $100 million advancing education, anti-racism and anti-sexism initiatives, pro bono legal services, and fine arts education. And then there's Tysa Lee's service to AFP locally and globally. In 2011, she joined the AFP DC Board of Directors and served in multiple leadership positions, including as 2014 chapter president. As a staunch advocate for championing equity and values-driven leadership, under her leadership, the African American Affinity Group was formed to create a safe place for fundraisers with shared racial identities to meet unmet professional needs. Her contributions and commitment to AFP Global include service to the International Ethics Committee and as founding chair of the Women's Impact Initiative. She's also a member of the International CFRE Exam Committee. But finally, there's her overall commitment to service, embodying the values of volunteerism. She was founding board chair of a public charter school, the first woman of color to serve as president of the Junior League of Washington, and she currently serves as chair and lead diversity, equity, and inclusion strategist for the Nonprofit Alliance. She's also worked with Penelope Burke as chief project advisor for the Burke Donor Survey, including the first analysis of the beliefs and behaviors of Black donors. She's also a board member of the Blackbaud Giving Fund. Tysa Lee is a thought leader and truly deserving of this year's Fundraiser of the Year Award. Please join me in presenting this recognition to Tysa Lee Williams.
As a little girl, I would meet the morning with anticipation of making my parents proud. My parents taught me at a very young age that the best thing you can do with the talents that you've been given is to find a way to be useful, to be helpful, and to be considerate of others. America's Promise Alliance has done so much to be proud of. We have worked collaboratively with caring adults and creating space and opportunity for young people to step into places where power hasn't normally rested with young people. And I'm really proud of how we have created environments, prototypes, and opportunities for young people to develop and sharpen their leadership skills and to also find ways to be meaningful members of society. The African American Affinity Group of AFP DC means a great deal to me. As an African American woman, I understand very well the difficulty that we have as frontline fundraisers operating in white dominant culture. The African American Affinity Group is a space for those individuals who identify as African American or Black to actually have specialized resources, networking opportunities, professional development, specifically tailored to meet the bias that often exists as a result of being an African American and a Black professional working within the District of Columbia. It is wonderful to see that we are able to continue convening and supporting the important work of Black and Brown fundraisers. Compassion is something that exists, and it takes many shapes and many forms. And so what I've learned is what matters most as a charitable fundraiser is that we have to pose questions so that we can learn more about how people would like to be compassionate. We are the matchmakers. We are able to introduce opportunities that enable caring people to be compassionate. And I can't think of anything more wonderful than doing just that. To AFP DC, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude. I'd like to thank Jeff Cost and Jeff Wilco for the nomination. I most certainly would like to thank the selection committee for bestowing this honor and recognition upon me. And I'd also like to thank America's Promise Alliance for creating the opportunity for me to get up every single day, to do what I love, and to find a way to ensure that young people are also mindful of all of the opportunities, all of the joy, all of the goodness tied into being a charitable fundraiser.
As you can see from our awardees this year, our chapter is truly exceptional, and it's all because of members like you. So I want to thank you for being part of all that we are as AFP DC. And once again, I'd like to thank our generous sponsors, Campbell & Company, CFRE International, and America's Promise Alliance. Although we could not be together in person on this special National Philanthropy Day, I know that this is a year that we will never forget. It is my sincere hope that you all stay safe and well, and I look forward to seeing you in person in 2021. Thank you.